of the most common themes I hear from guitar players is, I feel stuck in the pentatonic box. Well, in this lesson, I'm going to show you your first steps out of that pentatonic box shape 1 and into a simple system that will literally allow you to play across the entire guitar neck in any key with just a couple steps. Let's dig into the lesson. In today's lesson, we'll be playing in the key of A minor. I'm using my Groovy All Along the Watchtower backing track, which is linked below. The progression here is A minor, G, F, and back to G. And that lands us solidly in the key of A natural minor. The pentatonic will sound great over this. We're gonna start today with the classic minor pentatonic box at the 5th fret. So of course that's gonna be 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. Now, with this box, it's really important to start understanding where the root notes are. Not only because they're gonna make you sound like you know what you're doing, but also for this lesson, it's really gonna help you be able to get out of that box. Okay, so the root notes of our scale are gonna be 5th fret of the low E string, 7th fret of the D string, and the 5th fret of the high E string. So you don't have to have a massive amount of fretboard knowledge, but this is really gonna help you. So what we're gonna do is, instead of just playing this classic minor pentatonic box, we're gonna put our ring finger on this root note here, and we're gonna play the 3rd fret below that note. So we have 3, 5 on that 6th string. This is the beginning of what I call the diagonal pentatonic scale. Some people call it the extended pentatonic. So we have 3, 5. Right next door, we're gonna have 3, 5, 7. And the cool thing is we're crossing back into our classic box pattern here. On the next string, we're gonna have 5, 7. That's on the D string, 5, 7. On the G, we'll do 5, 7, 9. The only trick about the diagonal pentatonic is when you hit that B string, you gotta shift up 1 fret. So we're gonna play 8, 10, and then we'll finish out with an 8, 10, 12. Now, what you can do is you can play all your classic licks that you know in your regular pentatonic box, and then you can kind of shift into that diagonal and get some more syrupy, slick, kind of sliding around kind of sounds. So let me demonstrate that. So what you'll notice is I'm actually trying to use both of them. I'm using both the box and connect to this new diagonal pentatonic. Now, what's really, really, really important is, just because you learn a scale, do not practice that scale just straight up and down. What you actually have to do is practice playing the scale with musical things. It's about how you use the notes. So don't practice the scale straight up and down repeatedly. Instead, once you know the scale, work on making music out of the simple notes there. So 5 types of decoration to make the scale sound like music. Essentially, you play hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, bends, and vibrato. That's what makes the scale sound like music. Another thing that's gonna make you sound infinitely more musical is being connected to the rhythm and understanding how the count is working. So when I hear this track, I hear 1, 2, 3, 4. That's like the essence of the groove. And then 8th notes would be like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and triplets, 2, 3, 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. And 16ths would be 4. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. Being connected with those grooves and getting your lines down in the grooves are really, really gonna help you. Now, we could use the root on the D string being our home as well. And I would kind of recommend that because a lot of times we wanna stay away from the fat strings. And guitar players have the tendency to stay too much in the low register and get in the way of the bass player. So sometimes it's even better, use that root at the 7th fret of the A string. And only use those lower notes sparsely. don't live down there. Now there's another place that we can kind of reference our diagonal, and that's on the A on the 5th fret of the high E string. I'd put my ring finger there, and I can only play descending from here. I get a small little pattern there, but you'd be surprised at how much music you could get out of it. Hey, so if you're enjoying this lesson and the amazing flexibility of the diagonal pentatonic scale, I wanted to let you know that I have a full course on the diagonal pentatonic that teaches this simple system to play across the entire guitar neck. It has tons of musical practice exercises, tons of killer backing tracks, and even diagonal pentatonic licks from myself and some other great guitar players. So go ahead and use the code STEPOUT and I'll give you 40% off for watching this video. Click the link below. If we take our classic box pentatonic, which you really want to do, you want to play this up 12 frets, up an octave, we would have that, if our classic box is at 5, you add 12 frets to it, we're up at 17. And the coolest part about this is you can do the same ideas with your diagonal up there. So I'm going back and forth between thinking box, diagonal. It's really like squeezy up there, but it still sounds good. I would challenge you to practice up there if you don't already. And one more, we can use that high E string at the 17th fret. That can be our home, and we can descend 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. It's amazing how the diagonal gets us across the entire fretboard with just a few simple steps using those 2s and 3s, using the 2-3 pattern. So now that you're stepping out of the pentatonic boxes, make sure to watch this video next to take a basic E major progression and start sounding like a pro with the diagonal major pentatonic shapes.